We finally have some high-quality rocket or arugula leaves that have been growing in the outside beds. Salad leaves with a delicious mild taste and not enough pest damage to worry about. We have been including rocket in with most of the succession plantings in the quick rotation crop beds between the two polytunnels, but haven't been harvesting much up until now. The first few batches of rocket grew fairly well earlier in the spring, but we also had lots of better quality leaves being produced in the polytunnel at the same time. I hadn't worked at the timing of the succession between the inside and outside crops very well, and we ended up removing the outside plants once they started to bolt or go to seed without harvesting very much. And by the time the crops in the polytunnel were finished, problems started to appear in the outside batches of rocket plants. There was an infestation of flea beetles, which chewed many small holes in the young rocket leaves, enough to stunt some of the plants and make the leaves a lot less appealing to eat. There were also issues with heat and probably not enough water and some nutrient stress, especially when we sowed too many seeds too close together and the plants bolted before we had a chance to harvest much. It's still possible to eat slower growing leaves or ones that have a few holes in them, or to harvest leaves and immature flower heads when the plant is bolting, and some people really like the hot peppery flavor. But I found that most people prefer the more mild taste of the young leaves that have been growing quickly without stress, like with this latest batch of rocket. The seeds for this batch were direct sown on the 24th of July and have reached a decent harvesting size by about the 18th of August. That is just 25 days from sowing the seeds to the first decent harvest, which is a really fast crop that was able to capture the warmth and good growing conditions that we have had. It also seems that the spacing or density of the plants has been good, which has allowed the plants to grow faster with less competition, but still producing a fairly good yield. There has been a little bit of flea beetle damage, and there's also a few caterpillars munching on the leaves, but not enough to cause a lot of damage. So we have started to cut the first harvest of leaves from these plants, which is the first proper harvest of rocket that we've had in the outside beds this year, even though we've grown 5 other batches. That was a waste, but in the process I learned more about succession cropping and when certain pests were going to cause the most damage. And I also learned a bit more about how to care for a crop like this outside to encourage really fast growth to produce really good quality leaves.